As the head of service pointed out, after we took over government, after the inauguration on November 12th, I did say that we will not make any appointments until we go through a certain transformation process, which we had started, and that we needed a minimum of 90 days to settle down to go through this transformation. I want to thank all of you for the understanding and for allowing us go ahead to do what we had promised that we would do. We needed that time. Unfortunately, because of the second wave of COVID, it had to be extended. It's not completely finished, but I believe right now we know where we are going. We know what needs to transform. So we can now move ahead to now form government. But before doing so, I thought that I should gather all of you with members of the transition committee, which we put in place, to explain what we have been doing, what we have seen, and where we are going. The transition committee was very carefully put together, and to make sure that it represented the views of a cross-section of our society, with a heavy leaning towards the political section. So almost 40% of the committee are party leaders who have been in politics for a long time. So we had the privilege and benefit of having their own inputs to see what we're trying to do and to get their buy-in in. But having been convinced of what they have seen with the recommendations they've made, we felt it is not enough for us to just go ahead. We should now call all of you and say, this is where we are. This is what we have seen. These are the options we have. The key message this morning is that there is a paradigm shift in Nigeria and in Nigerian politics, whether we like it or not. And that shift was clearly demonstrated on September 19th in Edo. That shift marked several things. It marked, first, a change in how we politic. Yes, we went round the state. We touched on every community, every ward. Listened to them. They told us what their challenges are, and we made promises and mobilized them. And in turn, these people came out on September 19th in large numbers, believing us that if they give us the mandate and we come to power, we will fulfill or address some of the issues they had asked us about. So we came in, did something different, yes, promised like before, but we were able to convince them to come out. Now they have given us power, they are watching us. The second point is participation. Yes, people used to come out, but we know, in Oredo, for instance, my local government, the average turnout for all the elections since 1999 has not been more than 23% of the voter register. This election of September 19th, it inched up to more than 32%. So more people came out for the first time. And there are several reasons. Yes, we promised. Yes, we politicked. But what we noticed is that a lot more younger people came out. And if you think about it, since 1999, to 2021 is almost 21 years, more than 21 years. So the children that were born around that time, 1990, they are all of voting age now. And these children don't know IBB. They have never witnessed a coup. All they know is democracy. The other thing we sold this last election, you were all there. It's nothing I'm telling you. The other people, they came. You know how much they came with. At least for me, we didn't spend more than 100,000 naira per polling unit for mobilization. We said, look, we don't have money. We spend the money building roads, building schools. Everybody was shocked. We went to the polling units that day. They came with money. Did the money buy them the elections? Before today, before the 19th, would that have happened? So that watershed, that paradigm shift has defined a lot in our country. And people say, no, that they were going to win at all costs. I just was praying. Because one thing that was different in this election is we had data. We had information. So this room where you are was the situation room. We had 5 agents per per polling unit reporting live into a center here. And we were seeing what was going on. We had a dashboard. We were showing the colors. And at 8:30 p.m. that evening, we knew the results. And if anybody had tried, so those people who used to say, you cannot use computer to win election. We used computer and data to win that last election. The last point I want to make on this paradigm shift. Yes, God was with us. Yes, the people came out. But it will also have been possible to change the results somewhere and announce something else. And that was my prayer, that God should not allow it happen. Because if they had changed it somewhere, what happened subsequently as NSAS would have started that day in Edo and in Nigeria. That was my prayer. They didn't. But why were they not able to? Because INEC itself had also begun its own process of change. They have been worried. They were scandalized by what happened in Kogi and Bayelsa, and they were trying to redeem themselves. So using technology, they made sure that as soon as you finish voting in the polling unit, that result was uploaded straight into a portal so they can see the patterns, which makes it difficult to change results at the collation centers. That is what helped us. And because of the success, the world and everybody praised the president, praised the chairman of INEC. And they returned the same person who did this. Do you think you want to go back? So we are not going to see elections the way it used to be before. Those votes, by the grace of God, will count moving forward. So why will people go and vote? They will go and vote because they now know that vote means something. Before now, they just didn't believe that the votes will count. It didn't mean anything. So when you give 5,000, 3,000 naira at the polling unit, it was okay. That's all they could get from you. But now, they can get more by voting right. So any candidate or any political party that does not see this and expect that we will do business as we used to do before, we'll play politics the way we used to play, we are taking a huge risk. 2023 will not be as it used to be. The evidence is very clear. Watch Anambra elections, watch Ekiti elections, and you see what I'm talking about. The last point I want to make on this, the general issue, is that The world has changed. Nigeria has changed. The economy of Nigeria is not the same again, whether we like it or not. You see, we have been managing, since the Civil War, we say money is not our problem. As long as we're pumping crude oil every day, there will always be money. So we have run a very strange economy and strange presidential system where people, the local government, state government, federal government, at the end of the month, they go and earn salary. We are the only country in the world that does that. Everywhere else, governments rely on the people to produce taxes, and they collect taxes, and it's the taxes they use to run the local government, the state, or the federation. But the way we run Nigeria, and subsequently the politics up till now, is that it doesn't matter. The country can go on holiday. The country can go and sleep. At the end of the month, we all just go to Abuja and we collect money and we come back and we spend. My brothers and sisters, I am an economist. I'm an investment banker. We are in trouble. Huge financial trouble. First, what we used to rely on, crude oil. Forget what you are seeing now at $70, $60 a barrel. It is only a mirage. It's only a question of time. Because the major oil companies, Shell, Chevron, who are the ones producing, they are no longer investing as much in oil. Chevron is now one of the world's largest investors in alternative fuel. Shell is pulling out of Nigeria. So in another year or so, where will we find this money that we go to Abuja to share every month? Last month, we got FAC for March. The federal government printed an additional 50 to 60 billion to top up for us to share. We say remove subsidy. They say no. This April, next week again, we'll go to Abuja, we will share. By the end of this year, our total borrowings, the total we have borrowed is going to be in excess of 15 to 16 trillion. And my worry is that we wake up one day, like Argentina, the Naira will be 1,000, 2,000, it will be moving. Because you can imagine a family, you don't have money coming in, you're just borrowing and borrowing and borrowing without any means or idea of how to pay back. And nobody is looking at that. Everybody is looking at 2023. Everybody is blaming Mr. President as if he's a magician. So that change in the world economy, which is now affecting Nigeria, is going to be one of the major factors that will affect our politics going forward, whether we like it or not. And therefore, we must understand that, yes, Nigeria will not disappear. Nigeria will not disintegrate. Because 60 to 70% of the people who live in Nigeria today do not know any other way. So Nigeria is not going to break up. Forget it. Don't even imagine. There will be a lot of crisis. Because like I said, more than 70% of the people who live in Nigeria today they do not know any other. Forget. When you are talking about north, south, east, it's our own talk here. They do not understand any other thing outside of Nigeria. But if we are not careful, if we do not manage the politics right, all of us in this room will be consumed. And I'm not talking 10 years, I'm talking 2 to 3 years' time. If we don't fix the politics right. And what does fixing the politics mean? going back to the basics. There is a social contract between the governed and the people in power. You go in, you lead us. As leaders, you provide sustenance for us so that we can feed our families, we can house our families, we can clothe our families, and do the things God has given us the energy to do. For you, the leaders, we will give you the respect, we will give you the authority, we will obey you in whatever you tell us to do. And there will be peace. It looks like we have broken that contract. Because we politicians are the ones that are supposed to go in between government that represents leadership and the people. So if the people are suffering so much, they take it on first on the politicians. And that is what we are seeing in Edo. How can we change the narrative? That is what the members of the Transition Committee are going to talk about in greater detail this morning. The other point I want to make is that government is not an abstract. Government is a structure that helps us organize things. So when we win elections, we take over government. But there are people and processes in government that help us organize the society. As a party, we have just come into government. The people who are in charge of making sure government functions on a day-to-day basis, either at the local level or the state level or the federal level, are the civil servants and public servants. So the civil service is the backbone on which we, the politicians, and our politics rest. But what has happened over time? I will tell you today that the civil service of the state, just like you find in the local government, and also at the federal, is broken. And we have been doing patchwork all these years. So after we win election, all of us will come in, want to come into government, okay, everybody takes positions. But what the civil service is supposed to do to ensure that there's law and order, to ensure that the economy grows, over time, we have forgotten. It's like government lives for itself, not for the people who put you in government. We are now in charge. So we go in there, civil servants, how do you do this? Oh no, where's the money? Okay, how do they do it? Okay, this is how we write the memo. This is how we do it. But what I even found that is most dangerous is that we, the politicians, come into office for a period, for 4 years. We now take over the functions of the civil service. When we leave in 4 years, what happens? It's like nothing happened before. Another set will come, we take over. I just said, everybody go. And I just realized that the governor's office was being run by politicians before now. That work that is supposed to be done by civil servants had been taken over by politicians. So we didn't know how weak the civil service has become because we were covering it up. There were some good people, I'm not saying good politicians who came in and they were filling in the gaps. But now I say, let's go, let me see. I can now see the weakness. And for me, the first thing we must do is strengthen that structure. Because we cannot continue to blame a weak system. We're all saying the civil service is weak. We are blaming it. But the actions we are taking is not helping us strengthen the civil service further. And without a strong civil service, we politicians cannot shine because people will not see our policies. If we don't have good engineers to design roads, to price the roads properly, how can we build more roads for our people? How can we build more schools and hospitals? So it is important that we strengthen the civil service. Everybody must stay on their lane. That is why I like COVID. COVID say social distance. Stay your own, I stay my own. Do your own, I do my own. Let the civil service and the bureaucracy do their work. Let them do their own. We politicians are supposed to now say, okay, this is the direction you should go. But we can't do your work for you. So, one of the conversations we are going to be having today, when I now make appointments or we make appointments, what are these appointees going to be doing? We have to, because up to now, before now, it has been confused. Take someone like Joe Koje, who was special advisor in terms of agriculture. He will end up doing the work that a director of tree crops will do. He will end up doing the work an agronomist will do. Meanwhile, he's like me. He's not a farmer. But to the extent we kept doing that, we forgot that all of these structures have been destroyed and we need to put them back. Otherwise, we will never have a sustained agricultural development in Edo State. So, are we going to continue in that light or do we fix the problem first? So, when we bring in political appointees, where and what are they going to do for? Another point I want to make is about our own politics, related to the very first point. We saw what happened. We are preaching democracy, one man, one vote, that we must deepen democracy in the society. Do we have democracy within our party? And without us having democracy internally, how can we sell democracy to the larger public? It is something we must address, even if it's not in great details, but something we must think about. I believe I have covered the issues generally, and that the rest of this session must be an honest interaction between us, between those of us in government, in the executive today, and our party as we go forward. Because we cannot allow this attitude of government's business is nobody's business. Because if we do not use government to achieve and undertake the promises we made to our people, you see this thing they call social media? It is so easy to call back what you said, what you promised. And you know that is what we used during the last election very, very effectively. So I don't want in 2023, as we are going around with our candidates, we go to a place, they say, leave them, don't even come out. They promised this, they will go and play the video. You remember as we were playing somebody's video? They will play our own video. If we don't do what we promised that we will do. So it is important that we get that this thing has changed. We must go back and at least try and do those things we promised. And let me tell you, it is not easy. Monthly, we get about 5 billion from Abuja. By the time we pay salary, pay pensions, pay judiciary, pay legislature, pay the debt service, sometimes if we have 98 million, 100 million, we are lucky. But from that, I have to build your road. From that, I have to fix hospital. From that, I have to give a jokokwa. From that, I have to. From even now, after all of that has happened, then security will come up. So what do we do? And I cannot borrow. So at the end of the day, I cannot leave you. You will not leave this room today without telling me how I am going to run this government for the next 4 years. We have no choice but to go and raise taxes. Not increase what people pay, but get everybody to pay something. If people are not paying anything, then where will they get money to run the state, to run the system? Oh, we don't have. Yes. But government does not have. So what do? We are supposed to set the direction. So it is not easy. The transition committee people, that's why I brought them. I said, you people have seen where we must sit in this room today, have lunch, they can even serve dinner, but we must get your views on what to do. We are in crisis. You see what is happening in the East? And I warned them when there was a jailbreak here. They thought I was joking. The Controller General of Correctional Services till tomorrow has not come to Edo. There are 2 jailbreaks. I personally went to go and get the data. I rebuilt the prisons, I sealed it, put light, did everything. I said, yeah, let us go and look for these boys and bring in. They are doing it like this, like this, like this, like this. Now you saw what they did in Imo. That was the 6th attack on the federal government security system. It's coming. I was talking to Delta yesterday. They said they're afraid they have put more boats to be patrolling the River Niger. They are coming. So except we move very, very quickly, we don't have time left. We don't have years. We have to do something urgently and quickly. Otherwise, we will not be able to control things the way we used to. So I want to thank you and ask you to help me thank members of the Transition Committee. They gave me one piece of paper. It's almost 20 pages of what they put. So they are the ones that will be telling you what they saw in each area. I don't want to, I want to stop for here and say it is a family meeting. It has to be an open meeting. We have to tell ourselves the truth. You have to now advise me. So I need your help on how I can now move this state forward. Thank you very, very much.